This video is brought to you by Jab.se, the lead supplier of MMA gear in Scandinavia. BetSafe.com, Europe's only online betting site for MMA.
This is Marcus Corval with Studio MMA and MMA Net, and we're here at House of Rue in Las Vegas with Jay Hieron. A couple of weeks left to fight night in your hometown, Las Vegas. How you feeling?
I feel awesome, man. Ready to go. Great. Happy to be fighting back in Vegas. I've lived here around 8 years, and I've only fought here about 3 times, so it's really exciting.
Not just fighting at home, but also back fighting in the UFC.
Yep, UFC, Tyron Woodley, great fight for me, great matchup. So whoever it is, I mean, I had Eric Silva first. I was training for him, which I thought was a great fight, great matchup, but, you never know who you're fighting. Even it could still change, you know what I mean? This game is crazy.
So you were originally supposed to face Eric Silva, who got injured, and Tyron Woodley. Do you get excited about the opponent that you're fighting? Were you more excited about one of the two? Would you rather fight one of the two, or it's just another fight?
When I first got the news of Eric Silva, I was really excited, but unfortunately he got injured. Maybe we could do it again down the line. But Woodley, he's another tough competitor. I mean, again, I feel I match up well with him, and excited to be back on the UFC here in Vegas on February 2nd.
So Tyron Woodley is actually under Extreme Couture management, has trained at Extreme Couture. Have you trained with Tyron before?
I haven't. He's under Extreme Couture management, so what? I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to get in there and mix it up. Hopefully, he don't bring his blanket. I don't want him to, lay on me. Let's get in there and fight, man.
Sam Spires, his manager, is going to be watching this. He fought for Strikeforce. He fought for against Nate Marquardt in his last fight. Really good fight. Nate had a brilliant finish on that fight. Have you been studying the fight a lot? And is there anything you see in Tyron's game that you feel that you can capitalize on?
Yeah, I watched the fight when it first came out. I'm not a guy that goes over and over and over on tape again and again. I let my trainers and my coaches do that. There's points I feel, I feel I'm more well-rounded than him. My striking's better, I feel. But at the end of the day, he's another tough competitor. I mean, he wouldn't be on the level he's on if he wasn't. So nothing but respect for him. But on the night, it's business. I'm getting in there. My last fight was a close loss. I feel, I won, but I could have done a little more. So, again, my mind frame is, trying not to leave it to the judges, man. You leave it to these judges, anything can happen. So, I'm definitely trying to finish him.
Close call against Ellenberger. A close call in your last fight before that in Bellator as well. Split decisions. What does Jay Hieron feel like he needs to do different to get the judges on his side? Obviously, a finish will be nice, but just when it comes to being inside of there, if the finish comes, it comes. But if the finish doesn't come, what would you do differently this time around?
I mean, I'm a smart fighter. I'm an intelligent fighter. I'm crafty. Again, my last fight, I felt I could have done a little more. So, that's the plan. I'm going to a little more aggressive. But, again, I'm still a smart fighter. Being that said, I'm going to be aggressive, but I'm not going to be, wild. I'm going to take chances when I need to take the chances. Of course, I'm always looking for the opportunity to finish the fight. And, this time around, that much more.
And you've been switching up your training a little bit. You're not just at Extreme. You and Mike Powell, I believe, a long-time training partner of yours. You're at Syndicate as well. Where else are you training?
I mean, I've always been a guy that's, trained in different places. When I'm on the road, that. When I'm in Cali with you, man, we go to a bunch of different gyms. I'm a gym rat. I like to get different looks, So for this camp, actually, we had a lot of guys. The holidays, fell on the date where my training camp is, so a lot of guys are here and out of town. So, I went back to the roots, Ronin. I started traveling different gyms, which I've trained at Drysdale's a lot before, but I train there that much more now. Drysdale's, Extreme Couture, of course, and Syndicate Gym. They got a great new facility. A lot of guys are there, a lot of great sparring, so I've been there too. So, we're blessed here in Vegas to have a lot of different gyms. There's a lot more gyms. I would like to travel around and train. And Vegas isn't that big when you think about it. It's not like L.A. You got to drive 1 hour one way
to pick up Jay.
Yeah, 1 hour another way with traffic, so it's 2 hours. So, everything right here is about 15, 20 minutes apart.
When you were in Los Angeles last time, not only did you change up your training, you also tried a different type of training by trying out Costa's paddleboarding. How was that? Is paddleboarding something that you wanted to bring into your conditioning?
Most definitely, especially if there's sharks in there. I'm gonna be on some sprint mode, so I'm gonna be in hell of a shape if I have paddleboard in my training.
So by switching it up, you get different training partners, different coaches, different looks at things.
Same coaches. My coaches travel with me. I got, my main coach is Ray Seffel. He's like more than my coach. He's like my family. He's like my big brother. And, that's who I want around me. When I go into a fight, I want people that genuinely care about me, that have love for me, rather than just looking for a paycheck. Even if they weren't the best coach in the world, I'd rather have a guy that really genuinely has cares for me. That'll make me fight that much more harder, knowing a guy that has your back no matter what. Being that said, Ray's still a great world-class coach, but we still have a great bond. So if I'm going to a different gym to spar, he's coming there to watch me. So, blessed to have that guy around me. So same coaches, but just doing a little more traveling around for this camp, getting different looks, a little more, different looks, of course, because I had Eric Silva at first. I needed a little different striking approach, but, still kept with the same regimen. I'm still at the Syndicate, Drysdale's Jiu-Jitsu, and Extreme. So,
being in Las Vegas, where like you said, there's a lot of gyms, but there's also a lot of fighters. You're now back in the UFC. There's 170 is a competitive weight class. Is there ever a concern? There's other guys in there that you train with that you might potentially face in the future, and if so, do they mind you going there? Do you mind going to train with them?
If I go to a gym, that's my house. Nah, again, I've been at Drysdale's for a few years now, since they opened. Of course, Drysdale has kind of an open door policy. A lot of fighters come in there. I see it as, if I'm not fighting you, my next fight, I'm not worried about you, really. There's a potential I could face anybody. When I cross that bridge when I come to it, I'm not, a guy that looks past a certain fight. I got a tough fighter in front of me now. That's what I'm preparing for. 6 to 8 weeks. Mentally, I'm focused on this guy that I'm training for. As long as he's not in my gym, there's no problem, Of course, I wouldn't want to be shoulder to shoulder with a guy that I'm have a fight coming up with, that my next fight, So the other guys around town, yeah, there's a lot of tough guys, but, they're not really on my radar right now. I'm focused on Tyrone Woodley.
But some of the guys over at Extreme did get a chance to train with Tyrone. Do you speak to them? Have you had a word with him about how his training regimen, anything like that?
I'm not really focused on what he does in training. Again, I've watched some of his fights. My camp has studied his tape. That's what we're more focused on in training, and the fight is totally different. The fight is 90% mental, 10% physical. Training is 90% physical, 10% mental. So it's different. Some guys, they're not as good in training as they are in the fight. They show up on fight day. When the lights turn on, they could turn it on. In training, they're whatever, and there's guys that are in training that are, they're badass. They know how to put everything together in training and not turn it over in the fight. So for me, I really don't pay attention much to the training part. I know he's probably training really hard, and I try to watch and, concentrate on what he's going to do on the night.
You were at Syndicate, where Swedish fighter Andreas Spång's been a bit as well, who said after his loss to Falcao that...
Actually at Drysdale's. Yeah.
Drysdale's training.
Yeah.
And he said he was going to start bringing his ear pads and focus on his wrestling for his upcoming fights. He's now in the Bellator tournament. I know he bought a new yellow singlet. He really wanted one. And did you get a chance to train with Andreas?
Oh, yeah. Andreas is a good guy, man. He's stuck to his word. He's definitely training a lot on his ground and his wrestling. I think it's paying off. He's really big for a 185-pounder, and I think he's going to be definitely a force to be reckoned with in that tournament, 185.
Have you got a chance to spar with him standing up as well?
I did a while ago. You know, real sharp boxing. He's doing what he has to do to become the complete package. He always had the stand-up game, so now he's really focusing on the ground and the wrestling, which, you know, in my opinion, that's all he needed to do was, you know, to put everything together. It's like a puzzle. You know, you gotta, you know, train everything equally to become a complete fighter. If that means you have to take a step back from what you're most comfortable at to focus on, you know, the stuff that you're a little weaker at, that'll elevate your game. Can't be stubborn in this game because there's always something new to learn every day.
Stop eating ice cream, Andreas. Now, now when it comes to Jay Hieron back in the UFC, your first fight back is against Jake Ellenberger, by many considered top 10. Eric Silva, same thing, a true prospect. Switch Tyron Woodley, even though it's coming into the UFC, one of the top names, 170 in Strikeforce. What do you think that 2013 is going to bring for Jay Hieron in the UFC?
I mean, I'm working hard, man. I kind of stay in the moment, you know. Big things, of course, I want them for myself, but you know, I don't really look past any guy. You know, I want to get through this guy. You know, put on a show for the fans, and you know, try to take him out, and you know, whatever's next, we'll see. You know, of course, I want to be the best in the world one day, but you know, right now I'm focused on right now, and that's, you know, February 2nd, Tyron Woodley. You know, getting out there, showing everybody what I could do, and then moving on from there.
Now, at Extreme Couture, one of the strongest weight classes is 170. Martin Kampmann, we got Mike Powell, yourself. You're all considered true prospects at 170. All potential fighters for contenders for one day up there, interim title, maybe one day even title. Do you guys ever discuss that?
I mean, it's kind of like an unwritten contract. You know, if that was to ever happen, you know, of course, title or some big money fight, I'm sure we would, let's do it. You know what I mean? We wouldn't, you know, no, and lose the opportunity. But, you know, we're friends, we're brothers. You know, we're not looking, you know, as to something right now. You know, we're all on different paths right now. We all fight UFC, but of course, we're all on different directions. You know, so if something was like that to happen, it wouldn't be till, you know, top of the top, I think. So, I mean, you know, again, I'm not focused on that. You know, these are guys we bang together every day. We bleed together. We you know, we go into battle together. I'm in their corners. They're in my corners. You know, so, you know, again, we're brothers. And, you know, I'm focused on right now what's now. That's Tyron Woodley. Get past him. Another good fight for me, I think. It's another tough fight. You know, he has a little, you know, hype behind him because he was the Strikeforce champ, so perfect. You know, I'm well prepared. I'm ready to go.
After February 2nd, you beat Tyron Woodley in 2013. As like you said, it's a big notch on for you to take on and beat the Strikeforce former champion. Is there anyone else you got your eyes on in 2013?
Big names, man. I mean, you know, main card, main event, whatever, man. Anybody with a name is, you know, the point I'm at in my career. I want, you know, stuff to gain after the fight. So, you know, everybody's tough. You can fight first fight of the night, and the guy, you know, just coming in with not that much of a name, and he's just as tough as the veterans and the guys that have been around. And, you know, it's a fight, man. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't pick and choose who you can fight on the street. You know, if something came to you and it happened, you just got to be ready. So, I mean, you know, of course, that's probably a bad, you know, example or whatever, but it just came to my mind, you know. But, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not scared of any man. I mean, I'm a competitive guy. I want to fight the best. So, you know, this fight takes me in that direction. Perfect.
Make sure you tune in on February 2nd here in Las Vegas. You will see Jay Hieron squaring off against former Strikeforce champion Tyron Woodley. And good luck to 2013, Jay.
Yes, sir. Hold on.
Oh my God. Programmet presenteras av betsafe.com.